Hi, everyone. Welcome to Digital Badge Academy's webcast. I'm your co-host, Jim Daniels, here along with fellow co-host David Leeser, who's going to kick things off for us. David, over to you.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Meredith Stowell, for joining us. Meredith is the Vice President of Ecosystem for IBM Systems Group, where she's building out a community to build the critical skills that we need in the market for mainframe. And so we're delighted to have Meredith here, and we're going to talk a little bit about what her work includes, how digital badges can enable some of the work that she's doing. So thank you so much, Meredith.
Absolutely. So glad to be here to talk about this important topic.
That's great. And just before we kicked off the episode here, you were giving us some interesting information about your background. So maybe for the benefit of our viewers and listeners, you could kind of dive into that a bit, kind of tell us what your background looks like, how you got into the world of enablement and education, where that kind of intersects in the world of digital credentialing and badging. Just kind of paint a picture for us in terms of what you've been up to and involved in there at IBM.
Great, great, absolutely. So once again, Meredith Stowell. I lead our ecosystem group for IBM zSystems and LinuxONE. And what that means is that I'm out there helping to build a vibrant, sustainable community and ecosystem for this amazing critical platform. I work with partners all over the world to bring applications to the platform. I work with GSIs to ensure that our clients have the skills that they need from those individuals to actually build out and implement modern and new ways of working on the mainframe. And then I also get to work in the community area. And a component of this is not only having a digital community that brings everybody together to enable them to have that sense of belonging and to share and network and learn, but it's also about creating talent for the future and ensuring that we have that talent pipeline, not only for IBM, but also for our partners and our clients. My background, I would have never thought years ago that this is where I would be today. My background is actually in analytics. It's in finance and commerce. But what I found was a love for how technology can help enable you to do your job even better. And really elevate it to the next level. And so I worked with Cognos. I wanted to take that out and showcase how BI and analytics can help clients. So I was in consulting. I then went into management and realized what I really love is to enable individuals to be the best that they can be. So that's when I started working in enablement, sales, tech sales enablement for our overall business analytics. And that's when we were acquired by IBM. I then was like, you know what? I'm teaching about how to transform and how to drive sales methodology and how to ensure that the team can really elevate their productivity. And so I decided to take on a role within academic initiative and within skills to really transform a team and help to actually help universities to build degrees in data science, build degrees in business analytics when it was first coming about, and really help to transform the team to do that with as many universities as possible. And that's when I got a knock on the door saying, hey, over in IBM zSystems, we need some help in building our skills. And that's how I ended up over in Z. I had no background whatsoever in hardware. I didn't even know what a Z was. And when I asked someone on my team who actually had been working in this group, she said, you know what, Meredith, there's only one thing you need to know about IBM Z, and that is if your bank's not running on it, you need to change banks. So IBM Z Systems, they're critical, mission critical servers that are known for their reliability. They're known for their scalability. They're known for their resiliency. They're known for their sustainability because they run thousands of workloads all on a single system. And the uptime is the absolute top. And especially during these times of increased digital transformation, increased digital transactions that are out there in the world. In fact, in 2020, internet traffic increased by 40%. So just think about that from a data volume perspective. They're expecting that to increase 2 to 3 times by 2025. And it's not just about the increase in the growth in all of these transactions that are going on, but it's also the unprecedented, anticipated volume fluctuations. So your systems, your infrastructure behind the scenes needs to be able to scale when you need it to scale. And that's what these systems are known for. And so we need talent to help run these mission critical systems. So that's why I'm in the talent business now.
It's, you know, it's interesting you said that you didn't know anything about mainframes or IBM Z, and I think most people don't because it's not something that's that visible. It's, you know, it's underlying all the systems that run the world from, you know, like you said, from power plants to
Yep.
banks to, you know, traffic systems. And so I think that, and from people I talk with, it seems like the generation that is coming up, that is entering the talent pool, doesn't really know that there are huge opportunities in mainframe. They see,
Mhm.
oh, a cloud developer, or they see something else, basically,
Yes.
and or now it's AI, of course. But there's really, like you said, with that type of expansion, that means there's going to be an expansion of mainframes being used and an expansion of the talent needed. What does
Right.
that look like right now? I mean, is that your Monday morning problem?
You know what? That is my Monday morning problem. My Monday morning problem is we're continuing to see growth in our systems. In fact, we've experienced over 3 times growth over the last decade. We're seeing these systems, to your point, they run 70% of the global economy transactions from a value perspective, right? So, and our clients, when they go and look for talent, they can't find any. So how do we create that talent pipeline? How do I, my real Monday morning problem isn't, is somebody interested in this technology? Because when I go and I work with students or I work with new collar talent, as soon as we explain and provide that awareness of what this is, there's a spark of interest because you can do AI, you can do networking, you can do any kind of IT associated with this platform at high scale, right? Cybersecurity, the interest is there. The clients, the employers, they want that talent, but it's how do I connect the talent? How do I connect the talent pool that we're developing with the employers that want that talent? And that's where I think digital badging is so important.
That's fantastic. You know, the thing that really stands out, and something you said earlier, is the focus on um, IBM employees, of course. There's all sorts of enablement and education and upskilling that has to happen there. But you mentioned partners and clients, but in a different context than I think what most folks think about, and that is you're thinking probably more about kind of back to this whole developing a talent pipeline
Mhm.
so that business partners of IBM can tap into talent that they can hire and onboard as well as clients. So
Yes.
it's not so much product training for a client, it's about training and education and enablement to build that talent ecosystem that
Yeah.
clients and business partners can tap into. So that can't be easy. I mean,
No.
how do you go
No.
about doing that?
I think that so it has been a journey. We are constantly learning, we are constantly trying, we are constantly innovating in this space. The reality is that traditional paths, such as universities, 4-year degree programs, they're not fulfilling the needs that the employers have in this space. So, how can we help? Right? We absolutely are still working with traditional ways. We are definitely partnering with universities. We have Z student ambassadors on campus across the world who actually create student groups and student user groups that do different training. So we provide a training platform called IBM Z Explore, and with IBM Z Explore, it's a fun, challenge-based, hands-on, no experience required to kind of to go through. But one of the key components is once you get through the certain challenges and once you've developed certain competencies, you get that digital badge as a proof point out to the industry that yes, I have this foundational knowledge. So definitely going down that traditional path is helping. But then we also have new collar paths. So for example, within the US, we have apprenticeship programs. And we've created kind of that easy button apprenticeship program where we look at non-traditional pathways, individuals that don't have any 4-year degrees, they don't have any background whatsoever in IT. we've worked with our clients to identify two primary job roles, the mainframe sysadmin and also the application developer. And we we team with Franklin Apprenticeships, who knows how to go out there and recruit diverse talent, knows how to ensure success through the apprenticeship program, knows how to handle all of the administration associated with apprenticeship programs, so that employers just have to say, hey, I want two application developers and I want in this location. They can choose any location in the US. Those apprentices or those individuals then come in, they do a pre-apprenticeship, and that pre-apprenticeship takes them through foundational knowledge. They have an assessment that they do, and they earn digital badges all along the way. And what this does is it fulfills, I would say, two key areas. One, for the participant going through, they get to find out whether or not they like this, right? Do they have an affinity towards this technology? Because I would rather find out that I don't like something before I go into it and invest too much than going in and then finding out later, I don't really like this and I don't want to stay here. Therefore, it increases retention, right, for the employer. The other thing that these digital badges do and this pre-apprenticeship does is it validates that the individual has the aptitude for this technology. So not only do they like it, but you know what? They can work with it really well. And that's what helps employers when they're hiring, once again, from a retention perspective, and it reduces that risk. So once we have these digital badges, and once they've gone through this program, that's when they're presented to the employers for hiring. So to me, a key component of success in building, to your point, talent, not just knowledge, but true talent, it's a triangle. It is the knowledge training. That's what you have to have as foundational, but you also need on-the-job learning and experiential learning. And then you need success coaches and you need your mentors. You need those individuals that you can go to when you have questions, right? That you've got this, and you also have this community that you can lean on and you can have this sense of belonging. So to me, it's that triangle of success. And that's what we've been able to do with the apprenticeship program. That's what we've been able to do with our overall framework that we recommend to any employer that's out there really wanting talent.
Do you find that the digital badges that people are earning um, help amplify all the effort that is occurring to build this education and get it out into the ecosystem and drive awareness and engagement in these programs?
Yes, absolutely. So they can put it on their LinkedIn or whatever their website of choice is, so that when employers are going out and searching, because we all know that that there's a lot of algorithms, right, behind the scenes when you're doing the
Mhm.
talent search. And if you've got those keywords in there, and if you've got your badge out there, they're going to pay attention, and it's going to get noticed, and you're going to rise to the top of the list. So not only can you amplify that from an individual's perspective who has that digital badge and really showcase it and brag about it, but it makes it easier for the employers to also search for validated talent. So another thing that we do, once again, kind of come into how do you do this connection between the individuals with talent, or the individuals with that knowledge and with the badging, and with the employers, is we've actually started to do virtual career fairs. And we host, or we sponsor, virtual career fairs. Any employer, any mainframe employer can join these virtual career fairs. The applicants, the only applicants that are allowed to participate, have to have a digital badge from our zXplore program, or they have to show equivalent experience or equivalent badges. So once again, it kind of also opens the door to opportunities that you may not have had if you didn't have that credential. And
You know,
it's working really well.
LinkedIn told us that people who have digital badges on their profile get 6 times more views. And it is because of all that, the data, the metadata that's in there, and or at least it's exposed in the description. But you brought up a really interesting point about, and I have a question about this because we talked about the diverse talent pool.
Mhm.
Do you think that your approach is changing the diversity in the talent pool? Because you're really not just looking at college students anymore. You may be looking at, are they early career, mid-career? people that maybe come from non-traditional backgrounds are now welcomed into this very, outstanding program.
Yes, yes. And I've got some stats for you that I really want to share. So we've had this apprenticeship program in place for a couple of years now. We have had it doubled year over year. And as of right now, we have 190 apprentices or participants that have been hired across 32 employers. And check out these stats: 28% female, 76% diversity, 10% veterans, 60% without a college degree, with an average starting salary of $60,000. And every employer that has participated in this program has come back for another cohort. And that's proof that of success in my book,
Yeah.
right?
Those are stats that other organizations would absolutely die for.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And listen to this. I want to tell you some stories because I also just earlier this week went to an apprenticeship graduation. I love going to the apprenticeship graduations. It is so inspiring to see this talent and to see the opportunity that they've seized and taken advantage of, and also the fact that the employers are willing to embrace this new talent pool. So we've had a country singer on a cruise ship, lost her job during the pandemic, always wanted to get into IT, never had an opportunity because it always required experience. Was not a fan of going to a formal college or academic program, found this program, thought it was too good to be true. She is now a system administrator of IBM Systems technology at a very large bank and is loving it. We've had a truck driver who was disabled, couldn't drive trucks anymore mid-career, right? And found this program. He's one of the biggest fans of IBM zSystems that I've ever seen out there and is loving being a sysadmin. We also have employers that bring incumbent workers and provide growth opportunities for their incumbent workers. So we've had them with security guards, a manager who would walk by the security guard every day, a physical security guard. And that manager rolled out this program and he stopped and he said, "You know what? I think you ought to look into this program." That security guard is now a sysadmin. So there are so many different pathways. And yes, to your point, it has increased the diversity. The diversity of thought, right, is what's so important in any team. It's about the experiences that they bring to the table that bring a different way of thinking and a different way of looking at a problem to provide more innovation, right, within that team. So I have apprentices within our team. They have turned my entire team around. I had a team that was 97% retirement eligible. Every one of them, a single point of failure. We started leveraging the apprenticeship program because I wanted to try it out before, I rolled it out to anybody else. This entire team has completely turned around, right? The stats from a years of experience perspective, but what I think is most important is it has energized this entire team. It has brought new vitality. It's brought, for those individuals that are experienced, that are able to share their knowledge, they're excited now, right? And it's also bringing new ways of innovating. It's fantastic to see it in practice. And that's why I'm so passionate about it, in case you can't tell.
All the different backgrounds of people that have gotten into that space, really resonated. There was a gentleman that had reached out to me, lives in Dallas, Texas, actually had a college degree in horticulture from University of Virginia,
Yeah.
right? And this was ahead of IBM Z, the Z Day, I think it was, an
Yes.
event that was happening last fall. And he was signed up, and myself and Darren Search from Interskill were both scheduled to be on there. Anyway, he reached out to me just blindly on LinkedIn, wanted to pick my brain because he was considering switching from a career in horticulture. And he had a terrific job down in Dallas working for a big landscaping architect firm, but he wanted to get into IT. and he was asking me about the mainframe space and some other areas as well. But I think the thing that I took away from that, and especially the examples that you just gave, is the fact that now with digital badging there, something that, has the capability of being validated, being verified, rich with metadata, provides a method of credentialing that it didn't exist before. Besides all of the programs that are in place, like the ones that you've helped build, the apprenticeship programs and things, I think that the digital badging is sort of that helping underpin that
That's it.
and
That's
make
it.
it possible,
It
give
is
people
the
real credential.
foundation. It's
Yeah.
the foundation of these programs. You couldn't have these successful programs, in my opinion, without that digital badging. The other thing that I love about the digital badging is the capability of going and looking at it from the perspective of, here are all of the skills that you've learned or you've earned with this particular badge. And oh, by the way, click here and you can see all of the jobs right now that are looking for that skill. So I absolutely, the digital badging and that proof of knowledge and proof of knowledge from kind of that industry perspective, it's absolutely essential
Hmm.
to this and to these skill programs.
It's kind of like the switch from analog film to digital cameras, and there's skepticism in a lot of different areas of the world around these alternative, or whatever you want to call them, these new types of credentials.
Mhm.
Did you encounter that when you first started, or have you been encountering and saying, "Well, I really want somebody with a college degree"?
Not so much, no. It's the harder part is, once again, you have to have proof. That's
Hmm.
that's that's the number one thing is, when you first go out there, it's about creating that marquee, right? Creating those proof points. And once you've got those, so once you've kind of gotten over, once you get an early adopter, right? It's
Hmm.
that key to having an early adopter that's willing to work with you to find the way to ensure that it does work, right? Because you're not going to get it right the first time. And it's okay to not get it right the first time, as long as you learn and you continue to improve. What I really like about the digital badging versus a 4-year degree, right? Or sometimes even certifications, because that's another thing that comes up, is that, well, what's the difference between a digital badge versus certifications?
Hmm.
Um, and why should we be going after certifications? Should we be going after digital badging? Well, digital badging, it can be as big or as small, right, as you like. And there are times, and you can also, it's almost like build your own, build your own resume, build your own skill base, and it can get down into the smaller skills versus the even the bigger skills. So you can go and show, hey, an employer might be looking to say, hey, I need somebody that has ZTPF skills. Okay, you're not going to create a degree around that, right?
Right.
You may not even necessarily have to have a certificate around it, but if you have a digital badge that showcases, I have foundational knowledge, or I have intermediate knowledge, or I have advanced knowledge, then they can see, hey, this is a specific skill I was going after, and you have that very specific skill, versus some really broad
Macro type of,
macro degree or macro credential, but you don't really know if they know some of those key specifics that you're looking for.
right?
Yeah, the discrete level credentialing, I think, is
Yes.
so important.
Yes,
I've
I like that
always
word.
been such a big advocate of that. There's so much value in understanding those, to your point, those really sort of fine kind of skills that may not stand out in a broader type of
Yeah.
credential, or even, necessarily that well in a resume. But if you've got something that
Yeah.
represents that in a
Yeah.
compelling way,
And
it can
also
really be valuable.
think about it from a growth perspective, right? Because it's not
Mhm.
just about getting in the door. That's a key component. But what's going to keep you there is your ability to continue to grow your skills and your ability to continue to grow your career. And by having the discrete badging, you can begin to start specializing in different areas and really show that you're growth minded, and really look for that next opportunity within your organization, within your group, to really take you to the next level. So not only does it provide that entry point into industry or entry point into a certain area, it can provide you that ongoing growth path.
Yeah, I was thinking, and McKinsey's done some really good work around this, showing that a person that comes at an entry-level job, they may have these five skills, and the job that they want has these other five skills plus those. Well, of them, are not needed because you've already picked them up.
Yep.
And if you have that type of skills register, which a lot of companies don't have, they don't have it at that nano level. But it sounds like that's the approach that you're taking to prepare people.
And I think it's a combination. This is the other thing that I love about digital badging is, so for example, with our pre-apprenticeship program, you earn multiple badges, right? And then you combine those badges to get that larger credential,
Yeah,
right?
super
So
badge. Yeah.
yeah, the super badge. So it's just it's composable, I guess. Is that the word? I mean, I
Yeah.
always go to these core banking the core banking
Yes.
conferences, and they're talking about composable and microservices and how you can bring everything together. You can always think of your digital badges like that, right? You can compose these different digital badges to then come up with that super badge.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, it's um, sort of like a transcript that you can adjust,
Mhm.
you know, as needed based on whatever opportunity you might be chasing. Right. I
Yep.
mean, that's a very good point you make.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it also
So,
provides employers and managers. This is another piece, right? Kind of the flip side, because I like to look at it from both the individual that's receiving, the training and the
Hmm.
knowledge and the credential, but also from an employer perspective or a manager perspective, and what's the value to them, because then they can also help increase the depth of skill of their teams if there are these digital badges that are out there. Hey, you need to go earn this, right? Um, it also provides an incentive. Okay, so we can use digital badging for if for example you want somebody to go and learn a certain knowledge or certain skill, just going and taking that training, it's like, okay, well, yeah, I took the training, but saying, ooh, I earned a badge. That's motivational.
Yeah.
it is. It's a personal transcript that goes with you like a degree does. It doesn't sit in some LMS in a company.
Yeah.
And I talked to somebody who went through one of your programs, and he had to go through my Inner Genius assessment up front. And first of all, my Inner Genius showed him that he was capable and qualified to join this pre-apprenticeship program,
Mhm.
which he didn't, nobody had ever told him that he could do that. So that was one thing. But then after he got into the program, he felt like he was overwhelmed. He felt like this is going to be too much for me. This is too hard. But he remembered the badge that he earned from My Inner Genius. And it's like, wait a minute. They told me that I'm capable of doing this. I'm smart enough. And he persisted. So I
Yeah.
imagine it also increases your retention rate in your programs as you start to provide incremental rewards.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It's that motivation. And the other thing is, as well, we talk about the apprenticeship program, and it's here in the US. We've taken this framework globally, right? So we are now using this framework of the pre-apprenticeship or pre-learning, and then the framework of the 300 hours plus of training with coaching and with on-the-job training internationally. So this is not just a one country, one geo thing. It's something that truly can scale and can be globalized and can be localized.
What's some advice that you would give other organizations that are in a similar situation that you've been in, where you're having to focus beyond just the idea of building education, to be consumed, but having to think much broader than that in terms of building an ecosystem of talent?
I would say number one, it's about the employers, right? It's about the employers and how employers are talking about um, the opportunity. And this is where, you know what, we recently did a study, and it was with Morning Glory. And it said it looked at job seekers, students, career changers all over the world. And these individuals, they wanted to pursue roles related to STEM across all different industries, but it highlighted some of these challenges. While 50% were interested in pursuing a STEM related job, 61% didn't think that they were qualified because they didn't have the right academic degree. 40% said the biggest barrier to professional and technical skill development is that they didn't even know where to start. And 64% weren't even familiar with the type of STEM jobs that are out there. So to me, that comes down to three key things that we need to do if you're looking to build talent in this area, or you're looking to fill skill gaps. Number one is awareness. You've got to get out there in the market. You've got to be present to win. You've got to get the word out there that there are these jobs, there are these careers, there are these roles that are available, because most folks just don't even know that they exist. So interact with the community, whether it's working through community groups, whether it's working through social media, all of the different ways, whether it's going on campus, right? Ensuring that the awareness is out there. Number two, accessibility. Make sure that the training that you're creating is accessible. That, for example, we've been able to put our bite-size training content, made that available on Coursera. We've made it available on edX. We've made it available through IBM. We've made it available on Pluralsight. It's about going to where the learners are. Don't expect them to come to you. And then you've got to make sure that you give them opportunity. So that's where it's so important with our career fairs that we do, the virtual career fairs. You've got to not just show that, hey, build these skills and hopefully someone will hire you. No, go out there and intentionally connect the employers with this talent. So to me, it's those three key things: awareness, or inspiring those learners. It's about getting the accessibility and availability of that learning, make it out there and available for them to learn in bite-sized chunks that they can consume, create the easy button, and then connect them with the opportunity.
Well, that's excellent. I think that that's a great way to end this. Is there anything else that you wanted to add, or anything that you want people to know about your program, or a place that you'd like them to go to learn more?
I would just say that take a look and engage with that hidden talent. Don't always go down that traditional path. Arvind Krishna, our CEO, he said, talent is everywhere, training opportunities aren't. So how can we ensure that we get that awareness, we get that accessibility and those opportunities out there in the market? Go out there and partner. So if you're interested in learning more about IBM zSystems and opportunities with IBM zSystems, go to our IBM Z Explore site, or go to our ibm.biz/ztalent to get started and start earning your credentials today.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Meredith. This has been such an interesting discussion. And, I have to say, I appreciate all the work that you've done over there. I know it's not always easy what you're doing, but it's having a huge impact.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Are you looking to launch a digital badging program or improve an existing one? Look no further than Digital Badge Academy. Our highly popular online masterclass will help you gain the skills and insights necessary to achieve success. Enroll now and start learning today.